welcome to the Minorities Report podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm Jason, a.k.a. Technor.
And we're here to talk about some fucking movies, dude.
We're going to talk some fucking movies, dude.
We finally did it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. Generational gap differences.
You want to tell them what we're reviewing today?
Yeah, so basically what we're doing here is we're breaking down movies. I'm a little bit older than Antonio by, about 8 years, I think it is?
Sometimes it feels like 30 years.
Yeah, sometimes it's definitely 30 years when it comes to politics and shit like that. But it's pretty much like 8 years.
Sure.
So which isn't the hugest gap, but it is definitely a gap enough where he didn't see a lot of the movies that were classics from the 80s and whatnot, or what we would consider classics from the 80s. So we're going to go through a lot of different movies, things that people feel are hits, and whatnot, and see if they hold up for me, and as well if, he digs them. So that's kind of our flow.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, this happened because Jason and I like to talk movies in our off time, and there's a lot of references that he makes that over the course of the last 2 years we've come to realize I really missed out on a lot of these movies.
Absolutely.
So today we're reviewing
Terminator 1, the original from, 1985, I believe?
Yeah, 85 or 86, one of those two.
No, it's 85. It's either 85 or 84.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
but
I guess
it's definitely a classic. I love it. I definitely loved the movie when it came out. I didn't see it right when it came out because I was only 4 years old when it came out. But it was definitely one of my early movies that I remember really enjoying from a sci-fi standpoint that wasn't like Star Wars or something of that nature, something that was a little bit more adult. And my dad was into a lot of action movies. So he let me watch some of these movies that I couldn't otherwise watch, but, rated R movies my mom wasn't down with. So,
Sure.
So I saw it through my pops. I think I was probably like 12 years old, maybe, 13. So I probably didn't see it until 92, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I just checked, it is 84.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of those movies where, an interesting thing about this film is, it obviously stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, which from my generation, one of the biggest guys.
It's the big badass.
That's the big badass.
Yeah.
Badass number one.
I got a sense for that today. I got a sense for that today
Sure.
more than I ever did.
Absolutely.
In, my life.
See, and one of the most important things about this movie was it was the movie where he was the bad guy,
Yeah.
because he's an action hero, so that's usually your good guy.
Sure, yeah.
So, but he didn't want to play the good guy in this movie. He
Is this
wanted
the only
to play
time
the
he
bad
played
guy.
the bad guy?
I'm trying to think.
There must be other movies, but is this the only big time he played the bad guy?
Yeah, like Total Recall, obviously, he was both the bad guy and a good guy.
Sure, yeah.
And things like that. But I think this was the only one where he just played the straight bad guy, unless
Sure.
I'm forgetting about a couple
And he was the bad guy.
Yeah,
in
he was
this
a
movie.
badass
Yeah.
motherfucker.
I did not expect that.
So a little bit of history, just to break down the movie real quick. I'm sure everybody that's listening has seen this movie. Antonio's the one like weird outcast. But basically, what this movie is about, if you haven't seen it, is in the near future we have an apocalyptic event that's caused by an AI that somewhat goes rogue and starts killing humans because it sees humans as a threat to the Earth that it's protecting.
Real specifically, it launches a nuclear strike.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we deal with a nuclear strike, and from the ashes of this nuclear disaster, humans rise up and they go to fight the Terminator, not the Terminators, but Cyberdyne Systems, Skynet. So
this isn't Skynet yet, right?
No, Skynet is the defense system that's part of Cyberdyne
Gotcha, okay.
Corporation or whatever.
Yeah.
So what happens is the humans actually win the battle. They won the battle through the actions of a courageous general. And as Skynet is losing, what they do is they create a way to go into the past, a time travel machine, and they send a Terminator back, which is basically a metal killing machine, to kill the mother of the savior of humanity.
Yeah. And they barely manage to get it out,
right, as
the humans take over that
Yep,
machine.
That's an important scene. Yeah, it's the last thing they do before
they lose the war.
Exactly.
And that's really important because they can't. Nobody's going back.
Nope. They don't have the ability to send any more people back, and nobody goes forward. Back to the regular time. So then they send the Terminator back to kill, obviously, Sarah Connor, who is the mother of
Like the big
John Connor, JC,
the big savior,
who rescues everybody at age 33. What a coincidence!
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, absolutely. They go even deeper into that in the later that he was like in his 30s when he puts it all together.
Sure,
and everything else.
Salvation and all that.
Of course,
I guess they really play into that.
Yeah, it's definitely he's
Judgment Day. The whole fucking thing is religious.
The whole thing is religious. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
he also kind of had a little bit of a divine birth.
Yeah,
getting into spoilers a little bit.
Well, somewhat, because it's a circle.
It's a big time travel.
It's this cool circle where John Connor sends back his father without his father knowing that he's his father.
And then a baby is born around this time.
Yeah, exactly.
And at some point he's gonna die before he was born, type shit. Like
it's fucked up.
Yeah,
this is not as this is one of those weird ones where most time travel movies in general, you can't think too deeply about.
Sure. And I want to say before we even move forward, it was really nice to kind of see the origin point of a lot of parody and homage.
Absolutely.
A lot of it came from this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was so cool because even just it was the initial in the far future scene, and there's just like the killer robots that are coming down and all that, and then immediately as that finishes, there's the credits start rolling. Yeah. And it's like the Terminator, but you just see the like the
letters kind of with the synth music and everything.
Synth music, and then also like computer text, kind of just like with the white square text, ancient fucking thing that's just filling out. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, dude, and they're playing it straight.
Right.
Like, this is the movie that everybody else either copied or made fun of for like 50 years. Well, I mean, not 50 years, but for like, actually...
it's
30 years.
It's crazy because like James Cameron, he was just a visionary, man.
Yes,
and he's one of the most famous directors of all time.
Of course,
even still to this day.
Was this this was one of his first movies?
I'm trying to remember if this is his first movie. It's very close to his first movie.
No way.
No. You know what? No.
To start off with this is crazy.
I was going to say, because I think Aliens 2 came out before this movie, and he
Aliens
directed
2
Aliens
came
2.
out.
Yeah.
Did he do Aliens 1 too?
No, Ridley Scott did Aliens 1.
of course,
1.
yeah.
So that's why you have more of the horror aspect of the Ridley Scott
and
movie.
But that's what I was going to say.
Sure.
Is this horror?
So that's where we're going to get into, okay? Because, it's no secret that going into this, I love Terminator, you know, the original movie. One of the things that this movie clearly did, and it's not even like Cameron completely is honest about it, is it mimics a lot of Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. The Terminator acts a lot like Halloween.
Sure.
And even if there's a part you might not even notice where after he goes, when he's running through the alley, they blow up the car, and then he runs through the flames, and he's like punching and everything like that.
Yes.
They did something with the makeup where they take off his eyebrows.
I was going to bring that up. I put that in my show notes.
For sure.
I wrote
so
down,
he looks crazy
I
as
love
fuck.
that they progressively fucked up his skin more and more, and the first evidence of that is the singed eyebrows.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh man, they singed his eyebrows.
It's a little. So if I remember correctly, James Cameron kind of came from special effects and stuff of that nature. Okay, so that's where he kind of like really got his start with. So he wanted to mimic kind of that Michael Myers mask, which is, obviously famously William Shatner without the eyebrows and a bunch of things.
I had no
fucked up
idea.
And stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
I had no idea.
So the story behind that is, of course, Carpenter not having a lot of money and whatnot. They couldn't figure out. They went to like a fucking Halloween store, bought a Shatner mask, fucked with it, and that's how you got the Michael Myers.
No way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So and Cameron says that that he really enjoyed that film. And I mean everybody did.
Of course.
Halloween was one of those big time films that was like crazy successful. Too, So obviously a lot of people wanted to mimic it and whatnot.
Yeah,
but,
I got that. Like now that you say Halloween, because I didn't even think Halloween, and you know that I don't like horror movies very much. I'm not super into it, but I did have the feeling that I was watching a horror movie a couple of times while I was watching this. And now that you're saying Halloween, very Halloween. Michael Myers kind of just
it's stalking that one person, and whatnot.
Yeah.
He's got that connection to that one person he's going after, and. I just wanted to take a quick sec. It was his first movie. Okay,
it was.
So,
wow.
So Terminator was his first movie. So so then Aliens must have been 1985.
Is pretty crazy.
Okay, Aliens 2. All right, so exactly. So we had this idea for this futuristic apocalyptic thing. He loved Halloween, and he kind of smashed that together and created what you see in the Terminator.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's one of those things where this movie was very revolutionary, I think, to a lot of people, because if you look at
it
sci-fi,
kind of defined a genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that it looks like it, because unless there was another movie that did this before this movie was so fucking like action movie 80s that it blew me away that they were able to do it playing it straight. But of course they did, because this is the fucking first of its kind.
Absolutely. And I think you only say that right now because you haven't seen a lot of action movie 80s.
Of course, yeah.
I think you're going to find that this movie was very different than a lot of the action movies that came later. Okay? Because the action movies that came later had catchphrases and
this one kind of did.
So it has one, really, and then they created other ones. The whole "I'll be back" and "Come with me if you want to live."
So the "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah,
I didn't know that
came from this.
No, I didn't. I knew that it came from this, but I didn't know that Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't say that.
Yeah,
I thought it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He says it in part 2.
Oh,
yeah. So we'll get to that down the line.
Because when he said, I was just like, what?
Yeah, that's Reese that says that. So that's Michael Biehn, and you obviously don't know him, but he's been in a lot of stuff too.
Sure, yeah.
He played, the most badass Marine in Aliens 2.
Okay.
Or Aliens, I should call it, because it's technically Alien 2, but it's Aliens. He also played, what the fuck was his name in Tombstone? He played.
He did.
So
he played Johnny Ringo.
Yeah, Johnny Ringo. Yeah. No, he's not Johnny Ringo. Isn't Johnny Ringo? Oh yeah, you're right.
He played Johnny Ringo.
My apologies. Yeah. So a couple things I want to get right off the bat.
I knew I recognized him from somewhere. He played Ringo.
I got to tell you right off the bat, you know my love for synth, but I fucking love this score. And let me explain why I love this score.
Sure.
Because it starts off and it's like do 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 do.
Yes.
Do 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 do.
Yeah.
And then it goes to this like right. The reason I love it is because I feel as though it explains the entire movie in just the synth music.
Okay.
It's showing you this like it's giving you this bad threat, like this like this fucking thing is like coming. It's impossible to stop.
Sure.
And then it gives you like this human sort of like feel, like this like we're back. We can actually do this. And then it ends though with the
Sure. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
So I just love the feel it puts me in and whatnot. It's so good.
Like, man. It sets you up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what to expect.
And then I got to tell you, so a little like side note, and Arnold shows up, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's never been a more Arnold moment than Arnold standing there like fucking bro. Look at like my fucking chest is perfect. Like, dude, is he like
he's barreled out,
dude? You're not kidding.
Crazy.
Now here's the thing, right? We live now where there's tons of people like that.
Sure,
there's guys in every gym like that.
Sure, yeah.
There wasn't guys in every gym like that back in the 80s.
Sure,
bro.
yeah.
Not in 1984.
Really?
Man. He was the fucking man, you know, right? Like
I mean, isn't that kind of, I mean, because there have been strong men for always.
Absolutely.
But didn't they?
But he won Mr. Universe, all that stuff.
I thought they were just kind of figuring out how to even do that kind of physique around that time.
Yeah, he definitely pioneered some stuff, because there was a strong man type of thing, but it's not only that he was strong, but he was so well developed.
Yes,
too,
he was like ripped up.
Right, you could see like every muscle in that motherfucker. So
there was that like Hollywood musculature.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas before it was just strong men.
Right, it was strong, beefed out men and whatnot. So I want to point out. So then you get to that scene where he wants to go get his clothes and whatnot from those dudes. Here's a fun fact. So he gets to that scene where he wants to get his clothes from those punks. You know.
Sure.
Right? So,
by the way, surprise Bill Paxton.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't he great?
So there was that other guy too.
No, so that's what we're going to bring up.
Yeah.
Right. Brian Thompson.
Yes.
So Brian Thompson is obviously famous for playing a lot of Arnold-ish roles, right? Yeah, because he looks very similar to Arnold.
Sure.
He's not as big, but if you look at him in the face, he looks crazy like Arnold.
Yeah,
like if you were glancing,
that, like, mucus jaw
absolutely
type stuff.
right. Like if you were glancing at him, you could think it. When you look at him, it's clearly not Arnold.
But no, he's got an accent.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong guy.
Absolutely.
And he plays those like
stunt double. He was a stunt double for a while.
Get out.
I'm 99% sure he was Arnold's stunt double for a while.
That's so funny.
And then that's how he kind of got his start in things and whatnot.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure he was a stunt double in Conan. So if I remember correctly, I could be dead wrong on that.
When he approached them, I was just like, these guys look familiar. Is that Bill Paxton?
Absolutely,
and then
Bill Paxton.
and then they get a little closer, and I'm just like, wow, dude, they're really hamming it
Bill
up.
Paxton, bro, he's one of the only characters that's been killed by like everything. Because he's been killed by Terminator, Alien, fucking
he was in
Predator.
Alien too? Predator?
We'll get to all that shit.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so he was in all that stuff, you know, and there's a lot of scenes that I love. You know, a lot of like I quote this movie all the time. You know,
Sure.
40. Plasma phase rifle
Yes,
with a 40-watt range. You know,
Yeah.
all that type of shit. You can't do that. Wrong. You know, you know, all that.
Yo, you can't do that.
right. Like, how fucking hilarious is that?
Yeah.
You know, and I always joke, like, okay, so this is on record, so I probably won't do this in my life, but I always joke if I was, like, going to give up on my life, I could become a serial killer, but look
Yeah.
up people with the same name and only kill people with the same name. They call me the Terminator killer, you know? So that's some funny shit. So
Yeah.
then, of course...
Also horrific.
Yeah, absolutely. So... some of the things I really like about this movie. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm getting out of here. You're going first with the things you like.
With the things that I like.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of things that I like.
Yeah.
One, and this may surprise you, or maybe
Sure.
it didn't, but I was surprised how much I was enjoying this film.
Okay.
I think we were half. It was a scene after he breaks into the police station.
Yes.
And they're like chasing. He's getting chased down the street and stuff. I was like, this is a fun fucking movie.
When he breaks into the police station.
When Arnold breaks into the police station.
Oh, the police station assault.
Yeah. When he drives into the police station, kills everybody.
That fucking scene's glorious.
Yeah, I was like, what a fucking wild. Like, this movie is wild.
Yeah.
And it was like, to bring up shit that you always bring up
Sure.
that I normally don't give a fuck about.
Sure.
Tempo was great in this movie. You know, like, it was. I was never bored.
Sure.
You know, like, this dude knew how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And, like, you could tell right off the bat, like, dude, this was your first movie.
Sure.
This guy's probably a good director.
Yeah.
And he ended up being
Avatar, fucking
phenomenal.
Titanic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
of course.
literally one of
Yeah.
the most successful directors of all time.
Like 2 of the top 5 of all time, right?
It's got to be. I think
Avatar's
it's the
number 2,
most.
I think, and Titanic's number 4.
Yes,
something like that.
for
So,
sure. One of the things that I really liked about this movie was that they played the cliched cops very straight.
Absolutely.
And, like, for the rest of time, movies have made fun of that cliched cop.
Yeah.
Where, like, one cop comes and is like, you know, like, I don't got time for this shit. And, like, this is the movie where they were seriously playing these roles, you know. It had such what is that? There was something very romantic about how antiquated it felt. Like, it was just like, ooh, I'm watching a little piece of cinema, you know.
Sure.
Like that's what it felt like. And I'm sure it didn't feel like that at the time, but like now it's just like, this is a cornerstone. This is where things came from. So I liked that. It was also interesting to see a lot of where a lot of these lines came from. So
Sure.
the I'll be back scene. And the "Come with me if you want to live," that one surprised me, but it was just so cool because it's like, and you hear that in everything for all of your life, you know, because I like movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I like TV. I just never watch these movies, and it was just nice to finally get a glimpse of where it came from. It's like hearing the Beatles for the first time.
Sure.
You're just like, oh, this is "I Want to Hold Your Hand." That's cool, you know. Like, it's just cool to hear.
It's like, or listen to like old school 70s or 80s Motown type shit. And that's like where every rap song came from, you know.
Sure,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think as far as specific points that I wanted to bring up, like specific moments, that's the stuff that I like.
Okay.
If I'm just naming the things that I liked as far as the movie, I'm giving the movie praise. I really enjoyed almost all of it. I loved the acting.
Sure.
The character work was fantastic.
Sure.
I cared about them, you know. There were some scenes where I thought it was a little hammy, but they were playing it straight, you know? Like the fucking bullshit criminal psychologist who just like was over it and super cynical, and he was like yawning all the time. Like, that guy I thought was playing it up. There were a lot of characters where I'm like, okay, you guys are really hamming it up. But for the most part, I felt like everybody was playing it straight. These seemed like 80s type characters who just like were going through this. So I thought the character work was great. I thought the narrative was good. The tempo was good. This movie was... And I wanted to shit on it, Jason. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course,
when I was watching it, I'm just like, all right, let's watch this dog shit old movie.
Of course.
And it ended up being and obviously it almost seems like, why wouldn't it be, since it's one of the most lauded, you know, praised, critically acclaimed movies literally of all time.
Well, that's Terminator 2.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Terminator 1 is... We'll get to this a little bit later.
Sure.
But Terminator 2 is the one that's really won like all the fandom and stuff like that, you know.
So I have nothing but praise for this movie.
Okay, cool. So I'll talk about some of the things I enjoy. I mean, in general, I enjoy the overall feel of the movie. Because I'm a big horror fan in general, obviously I like that aspect of this movie. Like the, you know, nonstop hunting him down. Well, like he says, you know, he's not going to stop. He doesn't feel pity. He doesn't feel remorse. And he will not stop till you're dead. Like, I like you get the feel of that,
Yes,
throughout the
for
movie.
sure.
Like this dude is not going to fucking give up. There's like one scene where he like kind of has to slip away, and it's because he gets in that car crash and his systems are all fucked up, and he's got to go like recoup himself.
Which, by the way,
yeah.
So the next scene, he like climbs into some random fucking building.
No, he's renting that place out.
Yeah,
yeah.
Is he renting that place?
Yeah, he's renting that place out.
No, he's
I know
not.
that's fucked up, right?
That made me
because
I laughed my ass off.
So the scene later with that guy is a cleaning guy coming to try to clean out his motel for the day.
Yeah.
So he's like,
oh, but that's a motel.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't get that. I'm just like, so he just randomly like, where did he get the fucking X-Acto knife? Like there were a couple of things where I'm like, did he hit up a hardware store? Or...
I mean, he's a robot, man. He knows what he fucking needs and shit. So he's like, I'm gonna go fix myself up. Get my eye taken care of.
I wasn't 100% sure what was happening in that scene. I remember, like, I literally wrote down whose house is Arnold in that he's patching himself up.
yeah, he's staying in a motel and shit because that's that cleaning guy comes later, and I love that callback too. Like, you know how old I was when I finally realized that was a callback? I was 39 years old.
What do you mean a callback?
So when he's like, "What do you got in there? Something dead or some shit?"
A
he's
dead
like,
cat. Yeah.
Fuck you, asshole.
Yeah.
So that's callback to the first scene in the movie. Where the guy's like, he's like, I need your clothes. And he goes, fuck you, asshole.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't notice that until, like, not this time, but the last time I watched it.
Sure,
I was just like, wait a second. Oh, fuck, he said that to him. And it makes sense because he's a robot. So he's fucking,
just kind of, because he's going through different
options or whatnot. I use that meme all the fucking time. That gif, fucking,
sure.
Fuck you, asshole. So, yeah, I love that shit. In general, some of the stuff I like about this is like, the animatronics of the Terminator was really fucking cool. Like when he's coming out of the fire and shit that. Like that was really fucking cool. I liked, just the sci-fi, like all the sci-fi scenes that we dealt with, and it just like brought me back to a lot of stuff from the 80s, obviously.
Sure.
Obviously, I love the whole dance club scene because that's where my painting studio name comes from, Tech Noir Studio.
Oh, that's Tech Noir.
Yeah.
You
didn't notice that?
I didn't even notice that.
When she calls, she's like, "I'm at Tech Noir on wherever the fuck that."
And the guy's like, "Yeah, it's over by another place."
Yeah, exactly. They bring it up a couple times, so that's where the name comes from. So I like all that stuff. I like the way that, like, they get away and then the Terminator like figures out, okay, I'm going to go to her mom's house.
Sure, because he stole the agenda.
Exactly. So like that's very horror movie-esque right there. Yeah. Like,
I also didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
One of the things it's super cool how it just kept me entertained like a modern movie does.
Sure.
Because she's talking to her mom, and as she's talking to her mom, I'm just like, this dumb bitch is going to fucking tell her mom where he is, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to fucking get it out of the mom.
Right.
And then she's already talking to the mom, and I did not see that coming. I was like...
That's a great scene,
I was like, good job, movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they had already showed us the voice mimicry, so I had every reason to, like, have seen that coming. But
he's just great at laying in all the things in the first act to be played out in the third act and whatnot. And to be, that's something that it's just a small thing where he mimics the fucking cop or whatever, right? But you don't even, and then, I forgot he mimics the cop earlier and whatnot. So we saw that he could do that. So it's not out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nothing comes from out of nowhere with James Cameron.
Yeah.
You
don't get, I didn't get any sense of Deus Ex Machina.
Right.
Like
absolutely.
Shitty, I didn't know how to write this.
Right.
Like,
It
was really, it was tight.
Absolutely. I thought like the acting was really cool. I think it was very believable characters.
Sure.
And but
for 80s.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Like, I don't think in today's day and age you would want to make a movie where the woman is just like the mother of the person that's important.
For sure,
like that's kind of fucking fucked up.
And everybody's hammy. Like the cops are hammy.
Yeah.
Even Kyle Reese is hammy.
Yeah.
Like there's like where he's like screaming at the camera. I believe it because it perfectly fit in the atmosphere of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you don't see characters get that hammy these days.
Yeah, it's not very often, but you don't see a lot of action movies these days. I would say that you would see more.
Our blockbusters, our big superhero movies are still
that's true. That's true. Okay, and here's the thing I want to bring up too. When we watch a lot of these Marvel movies, and you and I both love Marvel movies, and we like, comic book movies in general. We like all this shit. One of the big differences to me is like, we watch like even something kind of brutal like Civil War, you know, or something like that, where they're punching each other and fucking this and that, blah, blah, blah. And they just kind of like bounce back.
Yeah.
The thing I love about 80s movie, and this movie especially, like the violence is like hard.
Yeah,
like he's gunning down those fucking cops and they're like, oh, like they're like thrown up against the wall.
You know,
like,
I was
dead.
going to bring up how unceremoniously these cops died because
even the good guy cop, right?
So those two cops, we see them from the very beginning of the movie.
Absolutely.
Like they're characters and they die completely unceremoniously.
Absolutely.
He just points, mows them down, and he just goes like he makes this ridiculous sound, and that's it. There was like they built up those characters, and then the Terminator just like, you're out of the movie now. You know, like I like that.
That's like this. You know, I wish more film would do stuff like that.
Sure,
you know, like obviously the most famous one is Game of Thrones, who kills your the character that you thought was going to be the hero of the story gets killed in the first.
Even more fundamentally, what you're talking about is not needing everybody to have this long-lasting role.
Absolutely.
Like people can just die. And 80s was just like, that wasn't a thing yet.
Right. Absolutely.
So people just died.
So they just got murdered. And it was like, I mean, the good guy cop gets shot. Like he gets shot a few times. And like the only difference between him and the asshole cop is he also gets a shotgun blast too. Like he you know, really takes that asshole out. So that was kind of nice too. Extra blast for his ass. So yeah, I mean that's a scene that like almost certainly couldn't be done nowadays. Which is, I mean, it's understandable, but in the 80s it was just like, this is an action movie.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal for sure.
Oh, it is. It is. But it's also, remember, he's the bad guy. Like he's the Terminator.
But also there are some movies that get away with doing things like that. Like for example, the first one that comes up is Logan. Logan was a very brutal movie.
I don't mean brutal. I mean killing cops like that.
Oh, sure. Really? You think?
I don't think it would be socially acceptable at this point.
Like you're talking like even just more recently? Because Matrix did that shit. They killed tons of cops in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's true. But they were also like agents, right? They were like bad guys.
Well, no, because like in Matrix 2 and 3 actually, they're like infiltrating all sorts of stuff, and they're just like straight up gunning cops down in like on the roads. I'm just saying, cops still get killed in movies. And shit.
I could be wrong.
But also in the last 5 years, I can't really think of anything that.
Yeah, in general, the only like action movie that's even kind of like this type of shit anymore is John Wick, and even John Wick to me is a little bit hyperbolic, like.
Yeah,
like I enjoy.
John Wick actually does kind of feel like 80s.
Yeah, right. I would agree completely, except for the violence isn't as hard to me as this is.
Sure,
like he just and he gets tapped down and the guy falls over. You know, like
there's nobody. You're right. There's not a lot of. There's not any cop killing. It's all like
definitely
like assassin
not.
On
it's
assassin.
It's him versus all their assassins and this and that. And like,
what about all those fucking? No, because I guess those are the good guys. I was gonna say all those like Die Hard movies, like the new Die Hard ones.
Yeah, that's another one that's on our list. Die Hard 1, of course. Right?
Yuck. I think actually, you know what?
Christmas
it can't
movie.
Be on our list.
Why?
Because I've seen Die Hard 1.
Oh, my bad. I forgot you enjoy Christmas movies. So, yeah,
no, I don't know why I've seen that movie. Actually, I don't think I liked it. But
okay, we could skip that one. That's no problem. You know, in general, the whole movie, the feel of the movie is what I enjoy a lot. I enjoy just watching this and taking it in. Okay.
It's a good story. I liked it.
But now there's got to be something you disliked about the movie, so give me that.
Sure. There's some things that I was like, this is specifically hard to get over. For example, this was the most glaring one. Actually, I'll tell you my funny one right off the bat.
Okay.
Sarah Connor, dog shit waitress.
Yeah.
I worked in the service industry for 14 years.
No doubt.
I was a server for a long time.
She gets ice cream poured in her pocket.
Yeah, but like it's because she's walking around, she looks nervous as shit. People are like, that's not what I ordered, and she's like, you know, like she just seems so like
terrible.
Yeah, just like terrible. But that's just a funny thing, you know. Like I know that they were trying to make her like an underdog kind of run of the mill kind of person.
Yeah.
But the one of the first things, especially since it happened like up front, I was just like, oh wow, she really sucks at her job.
But I mean, that's kind of realistic, right? Because there are some shitty ass waitresses out there, right?
Sure,
She's a failure at this. But I think one of the things you're missing about that scene is, and it kind of comes up a little bit later, I think she's supposed to be that way. Sure. I think she's supposed to be kind of a failure.
Okay.
Because I think like that then leads her to this doubt that she has. Like, you're telling me I'm supposed to be all this. I'm supposed to be the savior, you know, the mother of the savior, this and that. I can't even fucking hold down a server's job and shit. So I think that's part of like the point of Sarah Connor is that she's just a random regular person that can't even get her own fucking life together.
Yeah. It's like he set it up. He set up the reason why she would even say something like that.
That's James Cameron, bro.
Yeah, that's I didn't even stop to think about that.
Yep.
Okay, so my first real hard stop to the movie was that it's really hard to suspend your disbelief about something, and you almost couldn't with this movie. Like the point for all movies, when you're trying to live vicariously through the character's eyes and you're trying to actually feel empathetically what the main characters are feeling, is that you're suspending your disbelief, right? This is the situation they're actually in.
Yep.
And it's really hard to have that suspension of disbelief when you know that the realities now of artificial intelligence and whatever that kind of warfare would be like, this pales in comparison, you know? Like, this is the technological hellscape that they create is tepid now.
For sure.
And that's something that you wouldn't have gotten back in the day, you know? Like, back in the 80s, this seems like a fucking real nightmare, and now it's just like, dude, AI wouldn't try that hard. It wouldn't have to try that hard, you know?
They just shut down the fucking computer systems and the internet.
Us out so quick.
Fucking right, yeah. Half the people would starve to death right there, man.
Yeah, dude,
exactly.
But I would have to say that if something that I didn't like is that it just is dated with how bad they imagine
the
things
apocalypse.
could be. Yeah.
Like, the apocalypse was dated for you, which is understandable, obviously, because we have new technologies and things like that are so far advanced from what...
And, like, specifically, I read a fair amount about that specifically. I'm incredibly invested in artificial intelligence. I love what is happening, and I am fearful of what's happening because we're developing it so quickly, and there's not a lot of, like, attention put on it.
But I think that was kind of what was going on in the movie, too.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is because right now the real fear of what might happen if artificial intelligence really just didn't care about humanity is far more terrifying than what they presented in the movie. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's specifically.
So you feel as though, because we've had this discussion before, and you feel as though AI turning into Dr. Manhattan, going fuck humanity, is worse than what we saw in Terminator?
No, it's just in Terminator they present a situation where the humans fight back.
Yeah,
because there's there's robots.
Yeah, don't tread on me, people.
Yeah. There's the hunter killers, right?
Yeah.
The hunter killers drive around. And they show these hunter killers, they're these giant machines, and like in reality, I mean, it would be way more systemic. It'd be impossible to fight, and it would be over very quickly. You know, like it wouldn't. There would be no fight. It would just be.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
If they're presenting a future where artificial intelligence specifically wants to kill a human race, and on top of that, it has the ability to automate its own production of robot killers, dude.
Remember, though, it doesn't completely, because we get this talk about from Kyle that they had to still use humans for work things and things like that because it couldn't do everything on its own.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Those are the limitations that I'm talking about specifically. Those limitations wouldn't exist. There's nothing a human could do that a Terminator wouldn't be able to do. And even more on top of that, the only reason that they make Terminators is so that they can blend in with people. But like biological warfare would absolutely eliminate the human race instantly, and an AI would be 100% fine. It wouldn't even be a gun and laser show. It'd be
like COVID times 100.
It'd be poisoning the human race, and then everybody would just be like. What I'm saying is, real artificial intelligence war would be over very quickly. And then this movie, it's like they didn't even have the.
But I think like
the foresight to have something.
There's There's stories that are older than Terminator that deal with stuff like that, if I remember correctly, because like The Stand was from late 70s, or was that early 80s as well? And that deals with like the military fucking with biotech, and then biotech getting out of control. I can't remember exactly, and then it wiping out just like tons and tons of fucking people. But then it's definitely different because it deals with like God and shit like that. And this doesn't, other than obviously the Jesus Savior complex going on. But,
I think maybe we should watch more movies.
Yeah, we're going to.
But I guess
I get where you're coming from, but I think that's not something that you can. I mean, I understand you're saying that it was hard for me to watch this and be entertained by that part because of where we're at now, which obviously that's reasonable, but you can't look at it that way.
No, for sure. And listen, I still love the movie.
Yeah,
it was just so funny thinking. This doesn't even seem that bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, no, I get you.
I can imagine something way worse than AI could do.
Okay. Anything else you disliked?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what I disliked. So there's the scene where in the tunnel, I think it's in the tunnel, he confesses his love for her.
Yeah.
Or no. It's either in the tunnel or in the motel.
The hotel.
But he confesses his love with her. So he's just like, dude, at some point John Connor gave me a picture of you, and I love you, and I came here for you.
Yeah.
That was way out of place.
Yeah.
There is no way that a scene like that exists in movies these days.
Right.
Because it's just like, listen, I looked at a picture of you, I obsessed over you, and I came over
That's
here.
That's like stalker-ish.
That's weird. That's weird shit. That's some creepy shit. But then it didn't help that immediately following that was the most 80s egregiously obscene sex scene I think I've seen in any fucking movie.
A sweet version of the Terminator music.
Yes, yeah. Dude, I laughed. I fucking laughed so hard.
It's fucking terrible.
Because it goes on for, like, it's like an 80s sex scene. So it's like, it's going to go, and you're going to watch these people have sex in the most, like, mannequin kind of way possible, you know?
Yeah.
And it was immediately after him, like, professing his love because of a picture. So I was just like, okay, this scene, more than any scene, is incredibly dated.
That's definitely something Cameron could have done better, because what you could have easily done was go with, I was inspired by what your son did for me. He gave me a picture of you. I came back here, and through the process of me saving you, I have fallen in love with you. That would be a much more natural
or even like they had already set up the fact that Sarah Connor was a legend, that she was like this person that people looked up to, and so they could have just gone into the fact that He was I don't know, completely enamored or romanticized the idea of meeting a legend, having some kind of like idealization for her. But the fact that it was just like, dude, I looked at your picture a lot. Yep. Like I memorized every wrinkle, like I obsessed over this picture. And then she's just like, let's fuck in a really graphic way, No. You just don't see sex scenes anymore,
Right.
Like now when two people are gonna fuck, it just fades to black, and then whatever, it's the next day, you don't have to see it. And then this wasn't just a sex scene, it was like, you don't watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, do you?
Hell no.
Okay, so there's a scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they're making fun of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
And they have this obnoxiously long, way over the top, hammy, showing way too much sex scene. This is that, but played straight.
Yeah.
And I was laughing my ass off, dude.
Yeah.
It was so out of it didn't seem out of place, I'm sure, back in the 80s, but right now I was just like, this is the one scene where I was just like, this absolutely didn't have to be in here.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. Those are my two those are my things that I was just like, these are things that took me out of the movie, but otherwise I thought it was solid.
Okay. For me, it was I definitely had a problem with the sex scene. I got that written down as one of my issues for sure. I got to be honest. I feel a little bit differently than you do. I had a lot of problems with the pacing of this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really? I had to pause it multiple times to get up, walk around, and stuff like that.
Really?
I got extremely bored in some scenes.
Sure.
It was just...
But you had also already seen...
I've seen this at least 20 times.
Sure,
So, like, the scenes of them going into the future and fighting in the future...
Okay, sure.
Look terrible now, of course, but that's understandable because we have great special effects now that can fucking do anything, right?
Yeah, like I didn't ding it for the Terminator at the end with the stop go animation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
where like okay, that's
exactly like that's what they had at the time.
Yeah.
There are some faults with this film that it's going to be interesting when we watch Terminator 2.
Sure.
Because I'll give you a spoiler alert right now.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 is the same movie just redone with more money and a couple different twists. Okay. And it's...
The same movie?
It's pretty much the same story. Yeah. You'll see. So, and that one's better. So, and I've watched that one recently, and now I know. So that were kind of some of my issues, that I felt the pacing was a little slow. The sex scene was just egregiously bad.
Yeah. Talk about slow, they really lingered on a very ridiculous scene.
Yep. Yeah. It was pretty ridiculous. And so those are small complaints. Some of the acting is what it is. It's an 80s movie. It's supposed to be what it is. I do love all the actors because they've been in so many other things. And you're going to see this as we start to watch other movies. You're going to be like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. Yeah. A lot of things tied to Cameron have a lot of these actors in it. So that's kind of interesting. He's like, the old version of Tarantino or some shit with that, or Scorsese, right? But overall, it definitely didn't have a lot of faults. So I'm just going to say that. Like, it was just those couple things that I kind of had a problem with.
Yeah.
So let's talk about recommendations here with this film. Would you recommend this movie to somebody who wanted to watch Terminator 1?
Yeah, man. So, and I'm surprised to say that. Going into this, I make fun of you a lot for liking these old movies.
Yeah.
I have it in my head that a lot of the stuff, especially movies that came out of this time, were just schlocky. And they're schlocky because from this point forward, that's what was referred to as schlocky.
Sure.
You know, like and hammy and over the top and ridiculous. And so I had no expectation that this movie was going to be enjoyable. I thought it was going to be laughable. And like the one Terminator movie I have seen is the one with the lady.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know which one that one
Terminator
is.
3.
And so that one was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I expected the same out of this shit.
Okay.
And that's not what I got. You know, like what I got was a cool old movie that sure has its age, but it was a cool old movie. So yeah, man, anybody who hasn't seen this movie that is expecting that maybe an older movie might not have the right sensibility or the right speed and it might just be a little too old. Like I tried to watch like some of those old acclaimed movies very recently and I was just like, dude, there's no fucking way that I'm going to watch this shit.
What was one of them?
So like I tried to watch Ben-Hur.
Oh yeah.
And like that won like every Oscar and for like 8 years that won every Oscar.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
Right.
You know, like that I was so immediately bored that I was like I don't care if this movie's good.
Sure.
Whereas this movie, I expected that. I wanted that. I wanted to be able to shit on it.
Of course.
And it absolutely isn't. Like it deserves all the praise that it got, and it honestly is an enjoyable time for anybody who wants to watch it.
Yeah. So I would say overall, if you're looking for a movie that's just a sci-fi horror sort of movie, there's one that's better, but this is probably the second best one out there. It's really fun, really good. It has a lot of fun scenes in it, and it's going to keep you on edge. It could be about 10 minutes shorter, but I'm not going to dig it on that. I'm going to say that even at its length right now, you sit down, you're going to enjoy this movie. You're going to watch it a couple times. You're going to find little things, little small background things and whatnot that are a lot of fun. You know, actually, one funny thing I wanted to bring up that I forgot to bring up earlier. You know who was one of the people that they originally wanted for the Terminator before they went with Arnold?
Who?
Mel Gibson.
Okay.
So I was thinking about that last night. Would I like this movie more if it was Mel Gibson?
What was he in back then?
The Lethal Weapons,
Okay.
Mad Max. No, he was already a star by the. I mean, he was.
But he seems little.
Yeah, they were going to go for a different route.
Okay.
So I think that could have been even scarier. Okay, because he would present a more serial killer type of person rather than this unstoppable force.
Exactly. Something that could actually blend in.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Which I think could have been well done, but nah, fuck that, man. It's Arnold, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's
You're right, it would have been a fundamentally different movie.
Yeah. And there's other movies that are like that actually that come out later. It's one of those things where like, you know, what's more frightening? Jason, Michael Myers, or Freddy, you know?
Sure.
It's kind of one of those things. But you don't get Freddy, you know, you wouldn't have the Terminator cracking jokes and shit like that. So it's not a perfect analogy, but, you know, I say all that to say that this is a perfectly fine movie that's still worth watching. Even if I think I was only a little bit bored because I've seen the movie so many times and I had some other things on my mind. It was no big deal, but I just definitely wasn't like swept up into it like I have many other times. But I have watched it 20 plus times.
Yeah,
so, you know, and I mean, I own merchandise for this. I own fucking T-shirts and figures and all this other shit, you know. So Terminator is legit.
All right.
And with that, what are we gonna do next?
Yeah, what movie are we doing next?
Well, we got a couple we could go with. We could either do Alien, the first Alien. We could do.
Let's do the first Alien.
We're gonna do the first Alien.
Yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
Or do you want to do Terminator 2?
Why don't we take a break from Terminator and then we'll go back to Terminator?
Okay. Yeah.
But Alien. So when I spoke about sci-fi horror and this being number 2, it's because Alien is number 1.
Okay.
Alien is probably in my top 5 for horror movies.
Oh, really?
It's almost certainly in my top 10 for overall movies.
Get the fuck.
At least that's how I'm going into this.
Sure.
And we'll see how I feel. after
how
I
it holds
rewatch
up.
it again. Right.
All right, cool. Well, everybody, I hope that you guys enjoyed the first episode of Minorities Report.
Tune in next time we go live.
Yeah, for the next episode. We're not going live.
Well, that's true.
Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm sure we'll have all 3 of those.
We're going to be doing all 3 of those.
Yeah. Could just be Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And
we're lazy.
And leave us a. Actually, don't rate us yet. Listen to a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
we need to be worthy of that rating.
Yeah, we got to fucking work this out a little bit here.
Have an awesome night or day or whatever time it is for you guys.
And just remember that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop until you are dead.